May I have your attention for just a moment? I really just wanted to just thank everyone for bringing your happy energy to the Thanksgiving event. Our Thanksgiving is sort of the beginning of our holiday season that stretches all the way till Master's birthday, January 5th. So we'll be gathering again in this room and in other places for the next really 5 weeks, many different times. And we encourage all of you to consider, being part of that as much as you can. Especially at Christmas time, there is a special kind of blessing in the air that all of us can really take part in and find our lives significantly changed by it. Swami Kriyananda was very emphatic in the early years of Ananda that the possibility of spiritual change during this season is really profound, and he encouraged us not to squander it. There's many articles by Master in the same way, that the presence of Jesus in a worldwide way and the possibility of understanding Christ consciousness, it's easier to see it at this time. And so through Ananda we have a whole variety of different ways, which are all different ways of seeing the divine, directly in our own consciousness through many different opportunities to meditate, but also that warm and easy feeling of family that comes when we all come together. And so there's a whole, like a rhythm is what I would call it, of the Christmas celebration, that the more you can participate in it all, the more you'll find that your consciousness will be shifted. All of us are on this same journey in life of trying to move from those things that cause us to feel contracted and unhappy toward those things that cause us to feel free and light. I was struck when Tandava was reading some of those lines in P.G. Woodhouse's book that are just so ludicrous that you simply can't help but just burst out in laughter. And that wonderful feeling of just letting go and laughing is something that even little babies know how to do. I'm sure all of you have received in your inboxes of your email the 100th video of babies laughing, and you can apparently go places and just look at nothing but pictures of babies laughing. And you watch them just for the sheer enthusiasm of being alive, just letting go of all other considerations. When Swamiji would read P.G. Woodhouse stories to us, there's a couple of them that are even on recording, Honeysuckle Cottage and a few others. Uncle Fred flits by. Swami would be reading with great enthusiasm, and then he just couldn't hold it together anymore, and he would just stop reading and just laugh. And then on the recording, you just hear him and the whole room laughing for a minute or two, and then he would pull himself back together and go back to reading. I had a dream about Swamiji after he passed, and he was in front of a large group of people giving a very large lecture wearing a microphone like this. And I looked at him. This is the way dreams work. Swami was a writer, and a great stickler for the exactitude of English. It had to always be just right, and he knew all the subtleties of grammar and so on, punctuation. And I'm sitting there in the audience, and I see that Swami, in the dream, has a grammatical error on his face. This is the dream. And I'm thinking, should I, in front of all these people, go up and try to correct it, or should I let him give the whole talk with the grammatical error on his face? And I began to realize that he would never want to be in front of that many people with wrong grammar on his face like that. So even though it was embarrassing, I was going to have to go up and do it. And his secretary, Lakshman, who's even more of a stickler for punctuation and everything, just so, we sort of whispered a little together, and then I went up, all in the dream, and I lean over to Swami and I said, "Excuse me, sir, but there's a grammatical error on your face." "Oh," he's kind of startled. Then Lakshman and I sort of discussed it, and I said, "No, actually, Lakshman, I think the semicolon is correct." And then Swami, this is all a dream, Swami looks at me, and then suddenly it flipped into superconsciousness, into something real. And I heard Swami laughing, just letting loose with that, the P.G. Woodhouse kind of laugh, where it had been restrained for a long time and then it just completely came out. And then the dream shifted into just the joy of his joy, and then that woke me up. But I remembered when I was waking up how close to that edge of joyous freedom we always live, don't we? Because if somebody says something that's really funny, at any point, everything just turns over into that, doesn't it? It really doesn't make any difference what we're doing. I mean, at the worst times in Ananda's history, when we've been struggling against some of the most difficult times, somehow the right joke at the right time, and even when we were having some really hard times, people could still make jokes. And as soon as you made a joke, everything went in a completely other direction, doesn't it? And that's just a very human expression of the fact that the divine joy that we're all seeking is never any farther away than just a little something that will open the door. And, through the holidays especially, from now through January 5th, we have endless opportunities which we can inwardly build up that spirit and then in a social way sort of let it spill over into the experience of each other. So today is a very auspicious beginning, and let us join heart, minds, and souls together through this winter into the new year, and then we can start a new year as new souls, new people, renewed. This is all a journey of to return to our infinite nature, and every right moment moves us one moment closer. So God bless you all.